is out. Final time to the bottom of turn 1. Turn 2, everything looks good. Here's the most crucial part of the racetrack. Final time in turn 3, and off 4. Ted Christopher back in winning form here at Stafford. He'll take down the win. Chase Dowling to finish in second.
Well, Teddy was always a fierce competitor, hard racer.
We weren't somebody who wanted to go there and just be out there. You know, you wanted to be that guy that was standing in victory lane at the end that everybody was remembering.
Breaking news in Connecticut, where a NASCAR driver is killed in a plane crash. 2 people were aboard the small plane when it went down. One of them was veteran modified NASCAR driver Ted Christopher, who was scheduled to compete tonight in a race in that area. The other person has not yet been identified.
On Saturday afternoon, the racing community learned of the tragic passing of NASCAR wheel and modified legend Ted Christopher. As families do in difficult times, Ted Christopher's racing family has pulled themselves closer to pay tribute to this great racer, their friend, their rival, their hero.
September 17th, 2017, Ted Christopher passed away in a plane crash en route to the Riverhead Raceway to compete in a NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour event. The news of his passing came out to drivers as they were getting ready to compete in the event. Tributes started, and people started talking about how he was one legendary racer at local short tracks.
You know, it's tragic, you know. First thing you think of is his family, and, you know, a lot of things go through your head. I was actually kind of hoping that NASCAR was going to actually call the day off and have everybody load up and go home. You know, it was just, you could feel the difference in the air as soon as, you know, word came about, and, you know, I was just really sad, and, you know, still don't believe it right now standing here that he's gone.
Disbelief, to be honest with you. There's still days where you don't think it's real, you know, and it's just like, of all the people, whenever you saw Teddy, he was that guy that you figured if he was ever gonna pass away, it was gonna be of natural causes or in a race car, not on an airplane. You would never expect it to be that way, you know. And when we all got the news, it was just kind of tough to swallow, I guess, because you didn't believe it, you know. I was just banging my Nerf bar with the guy the night before, and all of a sudden, you know, less than 12 hours later, he's gone.
Ted Christopher was passionate. He was so passionate, he'd make aggressive moves to do what he had to do to get the best finish possible.
He was aggressive, you know, raced every lap like it was his last. You know, if you bumped him, he'd bump you right back. He wouldn't wait until next week, you know. So he was always really aggressive.
He ran wide open, hard as nails. It didn't matter to him at all if he nudged you a little bit. That was just the way he was.
It was in between 2010 and 2012. It was coming up through, and that's actually on YouTube. Teddy's right rear made contact with my left front and destroyed the car on night 1.
Well, again, Teddy's a hard charger. Was always a tough competitor. I mean, we had our days. I mean, we got, you know, we got banged or turned around and bounced off the fence, and you know, as a competitor, you get, you know, you're not happy about that at all. So, you know, Teddy's was a hard racer from day one. He never backed off.
With racing hard, though, that meant wins could come, and Ted Christopher certainly was a winner. At Stafford Speedway alone, Ted Christopher became the all-time feature winner with 131 wins. His first win came May 23rd, 1986, and his last win was September 8th, 2017. Ted Christopher also has 99 feature wins at Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park.
I always respected him because he was a guy that won races and he was doing what he was doing.
Drive anything with 4 wheels and a motor, you know, and every week he got up on the wheel, and, you know, that's why he's so well respected.
He was just a hard racer, and he loved to race, and he loved to win.
He did love to race, and he did love to win. In the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour alone, he made his first start in 1987, and up until his death in 2017, he did 372 races with 42 wins, 133 top 5s, 203 top 10s, and 24 poles. Ted Christopher became a legend at a lot of the local short tracks because of his winning and because of his driving style. So when he passed away, the tributes came pouring in. 2 weeks before his death, Ted Christopher talked to Ryan Preece about a specific race that Ryan was running, and that's where the first tribute came in.
He popped his head into the trailer, and we were at the Racing Electronics Communications trailer. I was sitting there watching Xfinity practice at the time, and he looked over at me and said, you're missing another race, and kind of like that Teddy tone, and said, yeah, I'm doing it. I want to get to the next level in what our sport is, and if you want to be considered one of the best, you got to get up to those levels. So he looked over at me and said, well, I guess you're right, but I'd race New Hampshire. And it was kind of funny because, Teddy was a diehard racer, and he was all about winning, but winning championships.
Ryan's car configured a little bit differently this weekend. The silver numbers of the 20 to commemorate the loss of great modified driver Ted Christopher.
Tributes started to come in from NASCAR's National Touring Series, as seen on Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car. Locally, September 22nd was the first time that drivers and teams returned to Stafford Speedway since Ted Christopher's passing. That was the first time that people at the track could go and pay tribute to Ted Christopher on a race night, and the tributes really started pouring in. While the lower divisioned series at Stafford Speedway raced, they used techniques that Ted Christopher used and applied them to their race, even though they were in a lower series than Ted.
Yeah, he was racing me hard, he drove me down to the grass, and I'm not going to take that. I learned that from Ted Christopher, and, I like to dedicate this one to him. I learned a lot from him, and, he's a great guy once you get to know him.
The winner of the race that night was Keith Rocco. After he won, he pulled down pit road and got a Ted Christopher tribute flag and did a burnout with it in his window. But what happened after Rocco's race will be a moment that no race fan, driver, or crew member will ever forget. That night, they moved Victory Lane behind the grandstands so everyone could have access to join in. Everyone's reaction to Rocco's win was incredible and came running over and joined in on the celebration. The weekend of September 30th and October 1st was the final race at Stafford Speedway for the 2017 season. Since it was the final race and there was more participants, the biggest amount of tributes that happened came on this weekend, including a tribute from the local Dunkin' Donuts that is right by the racetrack, which had a 13 flag that resembled Ted Christopher's number inside their restaurant and had a 13 on their donut. During this weekend, Stafford Speedway also retired Ted Christopher's iconic number 13 so it could no longer be used in competition. The way the retirement ceremony worked was there was a flag in the infield that all drivers in the SK Modified division would hold for a few seconds while they were being announced with their starting position. Since it was the final race of the season, the championship was on the line. Keith Rocco won the previous race and did a tribute to Ted Christopher. Keith Rocco also ended up winning the championship, and the 13 Ted Christopher flag instantly came back out in Victory Lane, and he celebrated the championship with that flag. It has become clear. Ted Christopher became a legend at many local short tracks because of his toughness, aggressiveness, and winning. Young drivers learned those skills from him, and because of that, they respected him. He intimidated other drivers because they knew what he was capable of. His stats will never be matched and are impressive in local short track racing.